Commodore, my 64, my Commodore 64.
Hi there, and welcome to a Let's Type episode from the Commodore 64 Appreciation Society. This is a series where I reach back into the past and type out a program from an old computer magazine, and then when I finish typing it in, I play it. So far, most of these episodes have focused on programs from the earliest days of the Commodore 64, mostly from 1983 issues of Compute magazine. They've been a blast to type in and play, but let's be honest, a lot of them are on the simplistic side. That's not a knock, it's just that most of these early games were ports from the VIC-20 or Atari 8-bit computers. We even had one that came from a Commodore PET, and recently I covered a generic Microsoft BASIC program from 1979. So yeah, we've seen it all. But not today. Today we're leaping ahead to the other end of the C64 timeline, December 1990 to be exact. By that point, magazine games had gotten much bigger, better, and a whole lot more sophisticated. Developers had pretty much learned every trick in the book, and the 64 was running at full speed. So I have high expectations for the game we're typing in today, Crown Quest. It was written exclusively for the Commodore 64, and one of our viewers recently suggested that we type it in. It sounds fantastic, and I'm excited to check it out. Before we get started, a quick reminder. If you enjoy these type-in adventures, I've got plenty more. You can find the full playlist linked in the description. Alright, time to limber up those fingers and get typing. Before I can start coding Crown Quest, which is written entirely in machine code, I'll first need to type in a utility called MLX. MLX is used for entering and validating machine code programs. Basically, it keeps you from losing your mind while typing in hundreds of lines of numbers. But before I even get to that, I'll need another utility called the automatic proofreader, which helps make sure I don't mess up MLX. So yes, I have to type in a program, to type in a program, to type in a game. It's starting to feel like Inception in here. That's totally fine though. Both utilities are fantastic. The automatic proofreader is a short little program, similar to Bug Repellent, which I covered in a previous Ahoy magazine episode. It stays resident in memory and displays a 2-digit checksum after every line of BASIC you enter. If the checksum matches what's printed in the magazine, you know you typed it correctly. If not, well, time to start counting parentheses again. This is actually the second version of the automatic proofreader. The first came out in 1983. Very handy but not foolproof. It missed certain errors, like when you'd accidentally swap parts of a line or type things out of order. The 1986 update, called the new automatic proofreader, fixed all of that and became the gold standard for type-in accuracy. I managed to get the automatic proofreader running with only a couple of minor hiccups. Now it's time to tackle MLX. Like the proofreader, this is actually the second version of the program. The first MLX debuted back in December 1983, and 2 years later we got MLX2, which included some big improvements, mostly focused on preventing transcription mistakes. For one thing, you could no longer accidentally type numbers out of order, which, if you've ever done a big type-in, you'll know is very easy to do. It also switched from using 2-digit decimals to a hexadecimal system, which made the code more compact and quicker to type in. Quicker, of course, being a relative term. You're still typing hundreds of lines of code by hand. But hey, every saved keystroke counts. This one turned out to be a real challenge to type in. I don't know if I needed more coffee or if the code was just extra finicky that day, but I made a lot of typos. Thankfully, the proofreader was there to catch them all, and MLX ran perfectly on the first try. Crown Quest was written by Danny English, his first game to appear in Compute magazine. He'd go on to have 3 more published over the next couple of years, which is pretty impressive considering how few people ever got even one game printed. It's described as an action-adventure where you play a brave knight tasked with recovering the king's stolen crown from the evil Black Knight. To do that, you'll need to journey through 6 castles, explore 16 rooms, and navigate through more than 50 maze screens. Along the way, there are treasures to collect, keys to find, and naturally, dragons to slay. There weren't any screenshots printed in the issue, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what it looks like. Holy cow, this is a lot of code. I'm not entirely sure, but this might be the longest program I've ever typed in. Fortunately, I've developed a bit of a system to keep things moving. I position the transcribed code just above my emulator window, showing only a few lines at a time. It makes it so much easier to follow along and keep my place. When I don't do this, I end up spending half my time trying to find the line I'm working on. So this little setup has saved me a ton of time. Of course, this kind of trick wasn't possible back in the day. Back then, I'd just use a sheet of paper to cover up the lines I hadn't typed yet, sliding it down the page as I went. Still, nostalgia aside, I have to admit that this modern method is way easier. Plus, I can zoom in the text now, which my eyes greatly appreciate. Finally, location 2051 means we're done. Now it's just a matter of saving the program and hoping it actually works. I would really rather not have to review all of these lines again. On disk, Crown Quest takes up 25 blocks, or just over 6K. That might not seem like a lot, but keep in mind, this is very dense machine code. A comparable program written in BASIC would easily be 5 or 10 times larger. Seeing a huge program with only a single line of code would completely blow my mind as a kid. I had no idea how it actually worked. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Sweet victory! I was terrified that it wasn't going to work. I love a good high scoreboard, and it's even better when a game leads with one. They provide a goal to be reached, and come on, it's always great to see your name in lights. You'll notice that there are 4 games listed. These are essentially difficulty levels. Game 1 is the easiest, and Game 4 is the most difficult. Game 1 it is. What a cool looking castle. It kind of reminds me of Ultima. Ooh, a sword. My knight can only carry 1 item at a time. I guess we'll see how this plays out. Huh, blue key. I don't want to pick that up quite yet. I feel much safer with a sword in hand. Ha! And there we go. 1 dragon down. I think slaying him would have been much messier with the key. Should I get it? Not yet. Now I'm walking through a maze. I'm not really sure where this is leading to, but there are other colored rooms and colored castles to find. If I find a blue castle, I'll have to go back for that key, so hopefully the maze isn't impossible. Also, just a note that the mechanics and size of this game are really impressive. Oh sweet, the blue castle. And I've killed the dragon in the maze, so I can leave my sword here and go back for the key. The instructions say that there's a way to avoid the dragons without the sword, and that you'll have to do that on the harder levels. I think I'll take the easy way out and make sure I have a sword as often as possible. Okay, now let's see if I can remember how to get back. There we go. It was actually easier than I thought to find my way out. The maze looks confusing at first, but you learn it pretty quickly. Nice! The door opened automatically. I shouldn't need the key anymore, so I can pick up my sword again and head into the blue castle. Oh, and we're in the blue maze, and another dead dragon. So that leads to a room colored light blue and to the green castle, but I don't have a green key, so we'll need to find it. I've paused the game here because I feel like I should be mapping the areas a little bit. I don't need to draw the maze layouts or anything, but I think knowing what the various sections lead to will be helpful. So in this case, the green maze leads to a light blue room, which leads to the green castle. I tracked back through the blue and green mazes again, and I'm back in the red room. I'll pause for just a moment to update my map, and then we'll head off in a different direction. Oh, okay, black room. And an orange room. Cool, here's the yellow castle. And here's a red maze. And another dead dragon. Gotta love a good sword. The red maze took me a little bit to figure out, but I eventually found the green room, which leads to the red castle. Still no keys though, I'll need to keep exploring. But first, let's take a few seconds to update my map. I found another path through the red maze, this time leading to a light blue room with the yellow key. I'll grab that and head to the yellow castle, which I found earlier. I'll then have to backtrack to get the sword again. I'm not going into that yellow castle without it. By the way, I feel like I should be humming the Brave, Brave Sir Robin song as I'm running back for my sword. Nothing says courage like facing no danger at all. Finally. Well, that took a while. The red maze is a bit tricky. Okay, back to the yellow castle. That ended up being a massive waste of time. It's just the black key, which I'm not even going to take quite yet. At least I know where it is. When I play again, I'll know that and I can shave 3 or 4 minutes off my time. I wasn't really sure what to do next, so I re-explored all the mazes and I realized there was an exit in that light blue room. And now I'm in a yellow maze. And here's a cyan room, but there's nothing in it. Endgame64, the viewer who recommended this game, mentioned that it's an adventure clone, and I can see exactly why. It's mostly a puzzle that you figure out through iteration and learning the patterns. It's a lot faster than the Atari Classic, but I can see it. I'm also getting some solid Zelda vibes. Oh, cool, here's the toll bridge. I think we're almost at the end. You need 50 gold to pay the toll, and I have just enough. Let's go. And here's the black maze. And sweet, the black castle. Alright, now I have to go back for that key that I left in the yellow castle. And there it is, just where I left it. So I have the key and unlock the black gate, but there's no way I'm going in there to face the Dark Knight without my sword. So back we go. And there's my trusty sword. Have at you. Haha, the Black Knight is vanquished. The instructions mention a magnet, which must be what that red thing is. I'll need to use it in order to get the crown, but I'm going to search for it first. I don't want to run into a dragon while defenseless. Oh man, what a cool level. I love the thunder and lightning effect that briefly lights up the maze. Hey, the crown. I guess I just gotta grab the magnet, but here we are. Awesome, I have the crown. I don't think there should be any enemies, so all I need to do is get back to the White Castle to win the game. Amazing. I've got to say, 27 minutes doesn't seem too horrible for a first attempt. Knowing what I know now, I think I could easily shave off 10 minutes on the next playthrough, which I definitely intend on doing. Honestly, this is one of the very best type-ins I've ever played. It has that charming homemade feel, but the gameplay is very sophisticated. With just a little polish, I think it could have been released commercially and done quite well. I didn't type in many games in the early 90s, but if this is the kind of quality I can expect, I'll be doing a lot more of them now. A huge thanks to Endgame64 for recommending the game, and of course to Danny English for creating such a fantastic title. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. And if you have any memories of Crown Quest, this issue of Compute, or anything else you'd like to share, drop them in the comments. Hope to see you again.